what I'm going to present today is a new form of acceleration. But in that form, I'm going to put together two things that initially they don't go together. The first one is acceleration. And acceleration understood as moving forward but very fast. And the second one is mindfulness. And mindfulness, in this context, also have to do with just being in the now. Can we really put these two things together? Can we? We will see. But first, I want us to do a little exercise. I want you to imagine that in a couple of days or so, we are going to be, each of us are going to be inside one of those. Yeah. Imagine that we are dying. Imagine that today is the last day of our lives. So it's a good time to reflect. Did you live the life that you wanted? That you wanted? Or did you live the life that others wanted? Did you enjoy every minute of your life? Every moment? Or did you let life pass in front of your eyes as if you were a spectator in a movie? And if you could live longer, in which type of world would you like to live? And what will you do to make that world possible? But today is not the last day of our lives. Today is the first day of the rest of your life. So what are you going to do with it? What are we going to do with it? The first thing is to start exploring and knowing a little bit more about us. Who is the fascinating person underneath our skin? Who is she? Who is he? Where do we want to go? And to do that, we need to go inwards. But that's not so easy. A couple of years ago, I had one of my MBA students telling me that he thought it was finance or economics, the modules that she was going to struggle with most. He wasn't good with numbers, so that's what he expected. But instead, he told me it was leadership, the module in which he needed to become intimate with himself, the one that was hardest. And also, that's one of the reasons why mindfulness is a key tool to discover who we are when we are not quite sure and what we may discover is not necessarily pleasant. Why? Because in mindfulness practice, we engage with a form of non-judgment, and we start learning how to be compassionate with ourselves. And it's in that way that we can be a bit brave and look inwards and also accept who we are. Now, maybe you were thinking, oh, I don't care about self-awareness. I'm successful, I have money, or whatever. I don't care. That's not for me. Yeah, okay, maybe you are there. Maybe you are like that woman who was so committed to her success that started climbing the ladder of success. Started climbing, and it started going up and up and up. It was hard work, but it was going up and up. Finally, after a few years, she reached the top. She was as successful as she could be. And when she was at the top, you know what happened to her? She needed to take a break. Her body wasn't coping anymore. So for 3 weeks, she was in bed without being able to work. And in those 3 weeks, she was able to connect and to see, what do I really want from life? What do I really want? Did I really want to climb this ladder? Could I have done something different? My MBA students not only have to ask themselves, who do you want to be? Who do I want to be? Not only have to answer that question, But I'm also asking them to answer 3 times why. Why, why, why? I used to have a student, a very bright student from South America, that when I asked her the first question, who do you want to be? She said, I want to be a top manager in a corporation, in a big corporation in New York. That's who I want to be. Okay. Why? I want to have lots of money and I want to be important. Okay. Why? I want my family to be proud. And I want to shower my family with money. Okay. Why? Because I love my family and I want them to be happy. So it is very important that we align the answer to these questions. So if you ask yourself 3 whys, just check, is the answer to the last why aligned to who you want to be? And then it's when you have a path that is clear for you. And this is a very pragmatic thing to do, just to really learn, to really explore, who do I want to be, which direction? Because imagine that you say, I think I may like to go north, but everyone is going south, so I'm not going to explore it further. I'm just going to follow the path south. And now everyone is accelerating, so I'm just going south, and I'm going to accelerate like everyone else does. And once I'm here, something makes me stop. And like the woman at the top of the ladder, makes me wonder, is this really where I wanted to go? Because if it is not, look all the energy, time that you wasted. So it is very pragmatic. Before you accelerate, to think, where do you want to go? So be mindful of the direction you want to take before you accelerate. But okay, now we know where we want to go. What about sustaining our acceleration? Now let me tell you my story. Since I was 11 or 12 years old, I wanted to be a psychologist. When finally I moved to Madrid, to a big university to study psychology, I was thrilled. I wanted to do everything. Apart from the 5 hours lectures every day, I was trying to do any course that I could do during the weekends. I was participating in any committee. I was organizing events. It was great. In my second year, I was already working with a professor in social psychology. Everything was going brilliantly. In my third year, I went back home, and I live in a rural area. So one evening I thought, I'm going to do the same that I used to do before starting university. I'm going to go for a walk to see the sunset. And I did that. I took the same music, and I did the same walk that I used to do before starting university. And you know what happened? I was looking at the sunset, and you know what happened? I couldn't see it. I just couldn't see it. There was like a wall between me and that sunset there. I couldn't feel it, I couldn't see it. But anyway, that's just a sunset, right? There's nothing really that important. As the year passed by, as I was connecting more and more with psychology and all the achievements that I wanted, I was disconnecting myself from myself more and more. But I was very successful, and that was great. In my 20s, I got one of the most prestigious fellowships that you can get in my country. And to signal the status of that fellowship, it was the king himself who will come, will give us the certificate, and will spend time with us and our parents. That was signaling that I was in the right path, right? 2 years later, I was diagnosed with benign tremor. But that's not that important. It wasn't that serious. It was just a bit of shakiness. Yeah. Then, again, 2 years later or so, as more pressure was coming in, 2 years later, 1 year, then the dentist had to put me a guard in my teeth because I was clenching them so fast, so strongly, that I was damaging my teeth. But that was by night. During the day, no one realized, apart from just a bit of tension here. It's not that important. And then every now and again, in the evenings, while I was sleeping, I will make a very strange sound. My boyfriend didn't know how to tell me about that sound. And once I was in a European conference with a colleague of mine. I was sharing the room with her. And in the morning, she told me, Inma, do you know that you make cow noises in your sleep? And then since then, it was like, yeah, this is what I do during my sleep. Who knows why? But I make cow noises. So what I was doing during all these years, I was engaging with mindless acceleration. But wait a second, how practical is that? How useful is that? We know that in order to sustain our acceleration, we need attention, we need memory, we need perceived control. Obviously, we need health. And to really sustain us, we need positive emotions, apart from other things. Yeah? Okay. What does mindless acceleration do to us? Well, it increases the levels of stress, cortisol. It may even damage our hippocampus, and it reduces all those. We will have less memory, less attention, less perceived control. We will have less health and less positive emotions, and more negative emotions. And you know what? We won't even realize. Because we are so busy doing things out there that we won't even realize. And when people may be telling us, hey, you know, you're not doing that right, we may be thinking, hey, that's their issue. We may not even engage into enough self-awareness to realize that the other people are right, that there is something that is not working with us. The good news is that some of my research and some of other colleagues are showing that mindfulness is going to have a positive impact precisely on those factors. We'll have more attention, better memory. We will have more perceived control. We will have better health. And also, we will have more positive emotions, which are really needed as we go up or as we accelerate in whatever direction we want to. So isn't it more practical to mix mindfulness with acceleration? That's one of the questions I was asking at the beginning. Can we make them fit? So we can say yes for two reasons. We can say yes, it's important to be mindful of the direction we want to take before we accelerate. Yes, we need mindfulness to sustain our acceleration. But can we truly marry mindfulness and acceleration? Then that's not going to be so easy. If we were to truly marry both of them, we need to start making a bit more effort, and we need to start practicing a little bit more. One of the things that a friend of mine told me is that if mindfulness can work like giving a shower to your brain. So if you are to accelerate, you don't want to carry things that you don't need, do you? So imagine if you want to make decisions clearly, do you need all the clutter that is disturbing your mind? You don't. So it just makes sense that the same that we give a shower to our bodies, we give a shower to our brains, and we cleanse our mind of all the things that are not needed. And one of the things that they recommend is to follow that practice at least once or twice per day. But that's a bit of a challenge, right? Especially if you are busy doing other things. And if we really, really, really want to accelerate while we are being mindful, if we want to be active, if we want to be alert, and if we want to be attentive to the now, those are the qualities of mindfulness, we cannot function with our normal brain. Neuroscientists are telling us that in the default, our brain is not really attentive or alert. It's not really here. It's in many other places but here. So what we will need to do is to rewire our brain. And there is lots of research now that are showing how this is showing that this is possible. In the Harvard Business Review in January, they published a review of articles in which they explain how mindfulness can literally change your brain. But wait a second. If we are very busy, if we are focused in all those things that we want to do, in all those achievements, can we stop and have enough time to practice and rewire our brain? Because what we do out there is visible, is rewarded. People notice. This rewiring will be invisible, will be slow, and no one will notice for a while. Can we really do that? Yes, we can. And if you were to engage in true mindful acceleration, you will need not only external acceleration, but you will also need to engage with internal mindful transformation. And it was 16 minutes ago or so, 16 minutes ago or so, that we said that today was the first day of our lives. So I just want to finish now with the words of a song that I really like. It's called The Second Chance. It's a song by Mitten and Deva Premo. And in that song, it says, let's try to make this world more beautiful than we found it. And I want to add, let's do it from our unique selves. Each of us, from our unique selves. Let's do it mindfully, and let's do it together. Thank you.